Hello everybody, this is Fernando for the latest Ghosts and Spirits Encounters video. Once again, I'm mixing one of these in here while I'm continuing your cryptids and monsters suggestions. This one coming from a reddit.com subreddit called Ghosts, one of my favorite new subreddits because of the richly detailed encounters that are listed there, such as the case with this one here. This one involves a haunted house that has multiple situations or instances, as the user points out, from areas around the house in of itself. It almost reads like a scary game, the kind that you would play and then visit throughout a certain area, and each time you go to a specific spot, then that's when you start seeing some ghostly encounters. But yeah, it involves apparently the bedroom, it involves the basement, it involves the kitchen, it even involves potential pets. Lots of strange things happening here, so I definitely wanted to pick this one here and showcase it to everyone. It comes from a user by the name of OKConference4366, and they titled theirs as "I Need Some Advice, I Think My House is Haunted." So let's go ahead and let's share this long and detailed encounter or personal encounter here, and then of course I'll give my thoughts and opinions on it afterward. So here's what they state. Hey guys, I'm coming here for some advice because I feel some sort of dreadful presence in my house, specifically in my kitchen and living room. They aren't separated. So I'm 20 and I live with just my mom. I really don't know where to start, but I've had multiple different physical things happen in my kitchen while I'm home. Let me also say I moved into this house not even a full 2 years ago, and I've never had previous encounters with anything paranormal. I guess I'll run down the list of encounters, starting with the first one and then leading up to the most recent one. Instance number 1. So maybe about 2 to 3 months after I moved in, my mom, whose bedroom is on the first floor, said she woke up at about 3 a.m. to wind chimes making noise in our kitchen. She walked out there and actually saw them moving. My mom loves wind chimes. Before this, she always had some inside. We took them down after this. Instance number 2. This was the first event I actually saw with my own eyes. Last winter, maybe around November 2022, I was sitting with my ex-girlfriend on the couch watching TV in the living room. We had been there for about maybe 45 minutes when out of nowhere, my lunchbox flies off the top of the refrigerator and lands on the floor about 5 feet in front of it. I paused the show and I freaked out since the only people home at the time were me and her. So I picked it up, put it back on top of the fridge. My ex was already freaked out, so we both just ran upstairs. Not sure if this is important or not, but afterwards I told my sister, who is well versed with pagan witchcraft practices, to read tarot cards regarding the situations. A few times she pulled out cards with cats playing on them. She told me that the spirit is likely a dead pet that wants someone to play with. She also did some sort of sage ritual at this time as well. Instance number 3. This happened 2 days ago, and it was the second thing I actually saw with my own eyes. I have a home gym, and sometimes I'll work out after work. 2 days ago, I was home alone, working out in the basement, and when I finished, I walked upstairs to the kitchen to make my protein drink and then eat some strawberries. Creepy feeling as always in that room, but I tried to ignore it. So I was standing at the kitchen sink, rinsing off strawberries and eating them, and I looked up out the window that's behind the sink. It was completely dark in my backyard, and I couldn't see anything but the reflection of the room behind me. And so when I looked up, I saw what appeared to be a blurry black figure moving very quickly from one side of the living room behind me over to the other. I couldn't make out any features because I only saw it for about half a second, and I don't even know if I had even seen it at all. And I mean fast, like it was the same speed of a human, full sprinting from one side of my living room over to the other. I turned around and there was absolutely nothing there. At this point, I'm freaking out and I start saying stuff like, "Whatever you are not welcome here and you need to leave. This is my house. I live here and I don't want you here. You need to go." Then I walked upstairs and laid in my bed until my mom got home because I don't get this eerie, creepy feeling when there's someone else home. So I showered and then went to bed. Instance number 4. And so after instance number 3, I debated not saying anything to my mom because I don't want to freak her out since she sleeps on the first floor. Last night I decided I'd tell her, and she was understandably a little freaked out. This morning my mom calls me while I'm at work and tells me that she herself was withholding experiences from me because she also didn't want to freak me out. My mom runs a small business out of the part of the basement located directly underneath the kitchen and the living room. She told me she has at least a dozen times heard footsteps in the kitchen above her walking around when she is sure she's the only one home. Apparently, this is why she plays her music so loud when she's down there. From my phone call with her this morning, I learned she got in contact with some people from her church, and soon she will be having someone who specializes in spirits come to take a look. Instance number 5. I'm not entirely sure if this was in my head or an actual encounter because I was tripping on some shrooms. Not my first time, so I know how to function. About a month ago, I decided to trip in my house with my current girlfriend and 2 other friends. For the majority of the trip, we always are upstairs watching cool TV shows like the Midnight Gospel on Netflix, which is highly recommended. I had to go downstairs to take a piss, so I went down by myself, and I swear that while I was coming down the stairs, I saw what looked to be a woman's face smiling in an unsettling way at me from the couch. I had some laundry on the couch, and I saw that face vividly in the laundry. This actually disturbed me, and so I sprinted over to the bathroom to piss and then sprinted back upstairs for the rest of the night. Edit. Let me add here that I believe this experience to be me freaking myself out as psycholimblin intensifies emotions. I attribute this encounter 100% to the mushrooms. Just thought it would be good to share. I would also like to add that in the morning before work, 5:45 a.m., still very dark outside, and at nighttime when I'm in the kitchen by myself, I feel an uncomfortable sensation, almost like you get the feeling like someone is watching you. Of course, every time I look around, I'm alone, but I just feel this intense dread. My house is also silent, and rarely ever do I hear any noise from outside, since my house is surrounded on 3 sides with trees. All of these accounts are honest, and I believe I describe what I've seen in my experiences to be the best of my ability. I would really appreciate any advice that people can give on how to get rid of the spirit, as it is low-key scaring the blank out of me and causing me to not like going into my kitchen or living room at nighttime. So the TLDR version is, I feel an awful presence in my kitchen and have experienced multiple things only in this house that lead me to believe I have some type of malevolent ghost tied to my kitchen/living room. And then that's it. That's everything from the user OK Conference 4366. So let's talk about that here. Wow, lots of experiences, right? I would say without a doubt, 100%, this house is haunted. What it's haunted by is the question. There was several instances, of course, that stood out. The idea that the chimes at the beginning were moving by themselves when there were no wind. I've actually run into that myself. Whenever we've done some ghost hunts at certain locations, it's completely dead, no pun intended, inside the area. No wind. Windows are completely shut. And then we hear chimes. The chimes that are in a room are starting to move. So it has happened before. And then the next encounter involving that lunchbox flying off the refrigerator, there was the idea from the sister who was practicing pagan witchcraft or doing that type of witchcraft that she was pulling out tarot cards involving cats. Could it be cats that were doing at least that instance? Interesting to think they are known to basically just push things off shelves, right? Just for the hell of it. So why not? Why not have something like this? And then you had instance number 3 involving the familiar world of shadow people. Here you had a situation where they were looking at a reflection from the kitchen, which apparently houses the most of these hauntings, and they saw a blur. They saw a black shadow-like figure move very quickly. As they described it, it was sprinting at like a human full sprinting speed from one spot of the living room to the other. That is shadow people activity right there. They move very, very quick. So quick, as the user mentioned, they almost think to themselves, did it really happen? And then that poor mom who apparently lives on the first floor, she's experiencing things too. So much so that she is holding things from the user to make sure that the user is not freaked out even more. That is really freaky too. Whenever they're in the basement, they're having a lot of experiences there, which are tied to the kitchen that is above them, how she hears footsteps. I have had that happen as well over at the Haunted Magnolia Hotel. Let me tell you something. Hearing footsteps when you're the only one in the whole building is freaky. You don't think it would freak you out, but it is. It is absolutely freaky. Like, it gave me shivers when that happened because I was in the middle of the actual, I guess you call it, living room there on the second floor, and then beside it are the stairs leading up to the second floor. I heard clear as day footsteps walking up those steps, and those were very pronounced footsteps. It wasn't no mistake. It wasn't something creaking by accident. It was about maybe 5 or 6 large footsteps, and I quickly got out of there after that. It was very unsettling. I didn't realize how creepy that is. But by far the most creepiest encounter this user had was apparently when they were on a trip, as they called it, when they were on shrooms, when they saw what looked to be a woman's face smiling in an unsettling way from an area there in the couch, almost as if the face was floating in the air. Man, that really creeped me out too. I would not want to stay in that area for much longer because now this thing is making its appearance known right there, right in front of the user, and it's not caring anymore. What could this user do? Apparently, they were telling it to get away, like they were telling it, commanding it that they're not welcome. This is their house, to leave them alone, that kind of stuff. We do that as well on the ghost hunts. It does work. So maybe that's happening here. And then it looks like they're bringing in some people from the community, from the church, to be able to do something. Who knows if the sister, the one that was doing the sage as well, if that's going to help as well. It'd be interesting to see what this user does in terms of follow-ups. If there's any later on, I'll gladly share them here. But otherwise, 100%, that house is haunted. There are some freaky things happening there, and hopefully whatever it is gets to go away, and then that way the user can live in peace there. What a horrible situation too, because you're basically trapped. You want to get out and you want to be, like, let's say, away from work, but there you are at home, and then you have this happening at the same time. It's creepy stuff. But let me know what you guys and gals think. All right, everybody, thanks again as always. Take care. Bye.